Good morning. I'm still reporting on space. So, our authoritarian kitten, who has rapidly become she who must be obeyed around the house, aroused me at 4:45 this morning to demand some food before she set off on her pre-dawn hunting patrol. After getting Kitty all arranged, I got into my office and immediately turned on NewsMax to see what early morning treat they had running, and I was not disappointed. It was a UFO video entitled Presidents and UFOs, The Surprising Story. It features clips of every president of my lifetime except the Bushes making some comment regarding the existence of life beyond this planet. Unfortunately, I only recorded the second half of this, but it is still excellent. I have always believed in human-like life existing elsewhere in the universe. This one deep space photo taken by the Hubble Space Telescope in 2022 shows me why. Look at all these points of light. They are not individual stars, but entire galaxies of millions of stars each. To me, it would be a mathematical impossibility for life not to have evolved somewhere in this vast universe of galaxies. NASA estimates that this one photo reveals about 5,500 galaxies, and it only makes up 1/30 millionth of the entire sky. But the problem I've always had with this theory is, where and how does Christ fit in? I don't have the answer. If anyone out there does have a good response to this question, please send it to me in the comments below. However, it didn't take me long searching through the Blue Letter Bible this morning to find this relevant passage in the second chapter of Genesis.
Good evening. Tonight, the story that flying saucers from other worlds are visiting our planet. My name is Mike Wallace. Why will the United States government withhold information from United States citizens? For what reason?
The Air Force is simply treating the American people like children. They don't trust them with the facts.
February 20th, 1954. Another UFO bombshell. While President Dwight Eisenhower was golfing at the Smoke Tree Ranch in Palm Springs, California, news bulletins of Eisenhower and a personal encounter with living aliens exploded. When the president failed to show up for a scheduled dinner and for hours was nowhere to be found, speculation for Eisenhower's absence went wild.
There is an extremely bizarre story doing the rounds about President Eisenhower and an actual meeting that allegedly took place between him and extraterrestrials, or in fact, two meetings. The story goes that in 1954, he was playing some golf and then he kind of disappeared for a while. And no one was quite sure what was going on. Later, there was a story that said that he had chipped a tooth and that he had to have an emergency dental appointment. Some UFO researchers and enthusiasts say that this was a cover story. What really happened was that he was spirited away for a secret meeting with extraterrestrials.
I just feel like I was just born into this family to be the one willing to tackle it, willing to give it a voice, willing to kind of disseminate it. And I know it's really hard for people to wrap their heads around the fact that during Eisenhower's administration, there was all this contact going on. And it's gotten to the point where there's so much information about it that it really can't be denied.
Why would aliens want to talk to Eisenhower? That's assuming that they did. And again, like, to me, when you look at some of the hoaxes that we've seen over the course of history, that could potentially be one of the biggest of all time. Did the aliens actually meet and greet Eisenhower? For me personally, I don't believe that they did.
The extraterrestrials said to President Eisenhower, we see that you're engaged in a Cold War with the Soviet Union. We would like to offer you advanced technology, which will enable you to win that Cold War. In exchange, though, we are concerned about nuclear weapons, and we would like you to give them up. And the story goes that Eisenhower then refused and said, we can't give up our nuclear weapons.
My fellow citizens, that we shall send to the moon 240,000 miles away and then return it safely to Earth, and do all this and do it right and do it first before this decade is out, then we must be bold.
Eisenhower's successor would have to deal with secrets of UFO existence and a powerful deep state committed to keeping it all under wraps. UFO historians say newly elected President John F. Kennedy made a fateful mistake. Did a top-secret memo written on November 12, 1963, seal Kennedy's fate?
This document also goes on to talk about a program of cooperation with the Soviet Union in space. It essentially instructs the CIA to initiate a data-sharing program with the Soviet Union.
In the field of space, there is room for new cooperation.
The president allegedly ordered the CIA director to gather all government intel on UFOs for a full briefing. 10 days later, it would prove to be a moot point. In January of 1973, perhaps the strangest UFO incident of all occurred, involving President Richard Nixon and comedian Jackie Gleason. The popular star of The Honeymooners was known to be an avid UFO buff, even building a house to resemble an alien spaceship.
There's a really wild, far-out story about President Nixon and the comedian Jackie Gleason. Now, they knew each other. They played golf together.
After returning home from a golf outing, a mysterious black limousine arrived at Gleason's home. The window rolled down, and driving the limo was none other than President Richard M. Nixon.
They go off together to Homestead Air Force Base, and Gleason gets a tour from the president. And it's like, yeah, I want to show you something. Here's the wreckage of the crashed spaceships, and here are the little dead aliens.
Jackie Gleason's second wife actually was writing a book, and she is the only person that detailed that alleged sighting, where Gleason met President Nixon at the Air Force Base and was shown the bodies. And to my knowledge, Gleason went to his deathbed without ever talking about that incident.
UFO researchers believe Nixon's reckless actions caused government and military officials to clamp down on the sharing of UFO incidents with new incoming commanders-in-chief. The shroud of secrecy surrounding alien and UFO phenomena seemed to be tightening even further, until the most vocal of all presidents blew it wide open, Ronald Reagan.
Is not an alien force already among us?
Welcome back to Presidents and UFOs, the surprising story.
One thing is clear. You could not keep a spaceship a secret. Too many journalists could not be restrained from trumpeting one of the greatest news stories of all time.
On September 19, 1974, California Governor Ronald Reagan and his security detail were flying to an event over Central California and were startled by the sudden appearance of a strange planet-like orb, glowing white and flying alongside them. Upon landing at their destination, the future president enthusiastically told a group of waiting reporters, "I just saw a UFO." The incident spurred a lifelong interest by Reagan in UFO phenomena.
Ronald Reagan, when he was president, he asked Steven Spielberg to come to the White House. and in the White House theater, they screened E.T. the Extraterrestrial. Near the end, Reagan had leaned over and said, "I bet you there aren't 6 people in this whole room who know how true this whole thing is."
Both in discussions with the Soviet Premier, Mikhail Gorbachev, Reagan alluded to an alien presence. And Gorbachev says he was quite taken aback when Reagan said this.
We often forget how much unites all the members of humanity. Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world. And yet, I ask you, is not an alien force already among us?
Did President Ronald Reagan know the truth about extraterrestrials visiting Earth?
I'm not telling you nothing.
That's what we're instructed to say.
We've never approved one, but there are things flying around up there that we haven't fully identified yet.
Repeat after me. I, William Jefferson Clinton, do solemnly swear.
I, William Jefferson Clinton, do solemnly swear.
Lawrence S. Rockefeller, heir to the family fortune and staunch UFO enthusiast, pled with newly elected President Bill Clinton to make all government data on the Roswell incident available to the public. Clinton agreed, but Rockefeller's optimism did not last.
Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton, too, were very interested in UFOs. And it's no secret that Bill Clinton said that he made efforts to find out the truth about UFOs. And very recently, Bill Clinton went on a late-night talk show, said again, yeah, I tried to find out about UFOs, Area 51. I sent some people to see what we had there. And then he made a remark along the lines of, they don't tell us everything,
We made every attempt to find out everything about Roswell. And we also sent people to Area 51 to make sure there were no aliens in a deep, because Area 51 is very important.
Who do you send to Area 51?
Oh, if I told you that.
Disheartened, Rockefeller issued a solemn brief to world leaders, saying it is conceivable that even the president is not fully briefed on matters classified as above top secret. In 2007, Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid led a covert government investigation into UFOs, allocating millions of dollars to the program. The secret operation began during the George W. Bush administration and lasted through to Donald Trump's first year in office.
The U.S. Navy has finally acknowledged that videos appearing to show UFOs flying through the air are real. They don't call them UFOs, they call them unidentified aerial phenomena.
In 2017, UFO historians, researchers, and witnesses finally hit pay dirt. The New York Times expose, armed with the leaked Navy cockpit videos, forced the government into admitting Reid's secret program existed, and the recordings of UFOs were authentic. Now, the only question left was, did the world need protection against an all-out alien invasion? On May 17, 2022, Congress held the first public hearings in over 50 years on UFOs. Experts, government officials, and scientists testified on reports of what are now called UAPs, or unidentified aerial phenomenon. Although lawmakers from both parties claimed UFOs are a national security problem, when it came to any confirmation about UFOs from the Oval Office, mum's the word was still the order of the day.
Part of a grand conspiracy. I'm not aware of any plans the president has to make public any information about this, but
does he feel he's gotten to the bottom of it?
Well, I know that he has joked publicly before about one of the benefits of the presidency is having access to that information. I don't know whether or not he has availed himself of that opportunity.
UFOs? Any UFOs? Did you ask about that?
I've certainly asked about it.
And?
Can't tell you. Sorry.
Okay. All right, I'll take that as a yes. Because if there were none,
Why
you'd
not?
say there was none, right?
Feel free to think that.
I do.
We don't discuss that publicly for a range of reasons.
You gave an interview the other day in which you said you've been briefed on unidentified flying objects. Are they real?
Personally, I tend to doubt it. We have had people saying that they've seen things. I don't assume it's correct, but, you know, I have an open mind, Tucker.
Do you think he knows more than he's letting on, or do you think, as some people say, even the president doesn't know?
My impression was that the president does know more than he said. Once in office, every president has become mum on the subject.
Is the human race ready to accept full disclosure of alien involvement on Earth and that we are not alone? Thank you for watching this presentation of Presidents and UFOs, The Surprising Story.
I'm still reporting from just outside the citadel of world freedom. Good day.